Hello everybody, this is Antiheals, and we're here with a bit of a different review than normal. Normally on this channel it's Pokemon stuff, but I kind of want to pivot over to some of my favorite stuff of Transformers as well. So, here today we have the DX9 War in Pocket Hulky set. So this is a third-party representation of Devastator from the Transformers series, and it includes all 6 of the original Constructicons. So, we have Carrier here on the right, the long haul of the team. Hoister over here on the other side, their version of Hook. We have Crusher, obviously Bone Crusher. Digger, their version of Scavenger. Then we have Shoveler, their Scrapper, and we have Mixer, their Mixmaster. So this team is actually wicked small. They're very much legend size. Just for an example here, I have the original G1 Scrapper, and if we just put him right next to Scrapper, they are the same height. Like, they are overall just about the same size, if not a little bit smaller than their G1 counterparts. But how are they in terms of posability compared to their G1 counterparts? Well, let's go ahead and start with our buddy here. And I am going to give you guys a little bit of a boost so you can see a little better. Let me just get the boost set up. Okay, so looking at, what's his name in this version? Shoveler. Looking at Shoveler first. So he doesn't have any neck posability, sadly that's just a stump. But his shoulders, they move out, and they're on a ball joint. Oh! Just gave you a peek at transformation. His shoulders can move down as well, but that's more for transformation than anything. And his elbows are also on a ball joint. No wrist posability, but then again, with the size of these lads, it's to be expected. No waist swivel, that's kind of due to the transformation of this guy. But his knees, or his hips, are on ball joints, so those move out pretty well. He's got a thigh swivel, which honestly surprised me on this guy. I was not expecting a thigh swivel. And a lovely knee. And it can bend really far, though it's mainly for transformation that it moves that far. And technically, he does have a little bit of a toe bend, but that's the whole foot, so not really sure how well that works. Then, looking at some of the other guys, Mixmaster, it's going to be the same level of posability, except his turrets up here can move, and he can move his shoulders up, though again, more for transformation. He does have a sideways ab crunch, again, more for the big boy, but you can use it if you need to. Also, his toes, you can just use the top of the truck for his feet, or you can flip those toes out if you want him to have a genuine foot, but it's a little tricky to balance him on those feet. And then, other than that, it's the same posability as our buddy Hoister for Mixer here. For Crusher, we're looking at the same level of posability, except he can look down, though, again, it's a transformation thing. And on both Crusher and on his buddy Digger, they do have the ability to bend their toes, but that's, again, transformation thing. For our buddy Hoister, it's going to be, again, the same level of posability. No neck rotation on him, sadly, but what can you do when they're this size? However, my buddy Carrier here definitely has the best head posability of everybody. It's on a ball joint, so he can look side to side, look down a little bit, look up a long ways. His shoulders are on this kind of weird joint that if you pull it out, you can move it out and back. But again, ball joints at shoulder and elbow. For his legs, they're on a swivel, but with a very mildly ratcheted. So it does move back Sadly, there's a bit of kibble that blocks him from kicking all the way back, but he can kick forward quite a ways. And as well as his normal knee bend, he does have an inwards knee bend, though that's more for transformation. Or for our big boy, anyways. So, getting onwards to the transformation of these guys. I'm going to start with Carrier since I'm holding him, and we'll just go through the whole thing. So for Carrier, spin his head around, and push it back into the hole here. Pull out those weird shoulder joints as I mentioned, push them back, and bring his arms up and push them back in so that both of his arms cover where his head was, like this. Then, coming around here to the back, open his legs, bring that kibble for Devastator, Hulky, around and through. Then, bring his legs together and bring up these wheels. Next, expand his waist. It just folds out on that double hinge. Move back his legs as far as they'll go, and fold up the lower legs. Bring these... Oh, hey, how'd his head get out? There we go. Bring his legs right up next to his arms, and flip out his shins to form the front of the dump trucks thing. Then just position the kibble here in the back so it's kind of tucked in, and you can even bend these so that they look kind of like tail lights, but not really. But for Carrier, Carrier is, other than our buddy Shoveler, Scrapper, he's the only one with actual wheels, so the only one that actually rolls, besides Shoveler here. For Shoveler's transformation, go ahead and rotate his lower arms so that his fists are pointing in towards himself. Pull up on his torso to extend it, and fold in his arms, plugging in his hands into little holes on his side. Then bring the shovel forward, combine the legs together, push on his heels to bring the cab out from his legs, and that should give you the clearance to fold that forward. Then just fold his legs up and collapse that into the back. And there we have Shoveler in his vehicle mode. For our buddy Hoister here, go ahead and bring his shoulders up and his arms tab in on his back, like so. And that goes on both sides. Then plug in his feet together and fold that up. And then fold out his hook. And he looks quite nice in his vehicle mode. Sadly, the wheels are fake, but at this size level, I'm honestly would be surprised if they managed to fit rolling wheels on these. So I'm honestly happy with the way these look. So moving on, we have our buddy Digger here. So if you rotate his legs so that the treads are completely shaped and fold his feet in to finish those, then extend his shovel. He's got a pretty big shovel for his size. Fold in his head, then his waist is on this joint here, so just bring that all the way back from where it was forward, and these plug into what is very clearly a backpack arm that we'll get to later. Then his right arm folds in with the elbow pointing in. His left arm, rotate the lower part around and bring it in, and we have his shoveler mode, and or excavator, whatever they're called, and he actually does feature a rotating top section, which is quite nice, and does allow for some changes into Hulky's combined mode if you choose to. So, moving on to Crusher's transformation. Same deal with the treads. Ooh, he flipped out of my hands. Fold up the feet and just combine the treads so that they're formed. Then you can use the shovel as leverage to fold his legs around, and those can collapse onto the back. Fold up his head, rotate his arms, and you can swing them to where his chest was and plug those into tabs, and there we get his vehicle mode. Not familiar with the names of construction vehicles, forgive me, but there's his vehicle mode. Sadly, no wheels again, but they're tiny enough that I give them this pass. Then we get to Mixmaster. Fold up his turret, bend his elbows, and fold his arms up, and they peg in to his little backpack here. Those peg in. Then collapse his feet, or his legs, bring the feet up, and bend his knees, and that brings the cab up. And again, no real wheels, these are fake wheels, but that's fine at this size. Let's bring ourselves back on down to vehicle level. Ooh. And these guys look like a proper team. They look quite nice indeed. I love how they are just about all the same size as each other, with one very obvious exception here. Scrapper is quite bigger than the rest of them in this mode, but that's just due to his transformation, how he works compared to the rest. By the way, as well, I didn't get these out because I don't use them myself. However, included in this set, if you can find it for yourself, it actually took me a hassle to get this set, there are several weapons included with these guys. They even come with a fancy little holding strut. They come with 7 guns of varying designs. There are 6 of them. One of them, I presume, is for another DX9 Warren Pocket character. I have yet to figure out who that is. It might be their version of Megatron, but I'm not sure. Anyways, it wouldn't be the Constructicons if they didn't have a combined mode. So let's take a look at that. And unlike the G1 version, this guy actually, the only things that we're going to need to worry about are his fists. And even if you didn't want to worry about the fists as separate pieces, you can plug them in to the vehicle modes of both of what make his arms. And you can just leave those plugged in. I tend to usually leave them plugged in. They're just, you can take them off if you want to. So let's go ahead and start with Carrier for getting these guys into their combined mode. So for starters, we're going to get him from the waist up. We're not going to change anything. We're just going to leave that as vehicle mode. But from the waist down, we're going to go to robot mode with one key exception. Or actually, there's going to be quite a bit of exceptions. So what was his little kibble that was preventing his legs from moving, if you fold out his tail lights, that forms Devastator's crotch. Then, coming behind his legs, each leg has a little flip out. This side has a peg, and this side has a slightly different peg, and those will each combine to his legs. Then, just bring his legs, split him, and bend those knees in to get his legs. So there we have Devastator's legs. So moving him to the side, let's take a look at, oh, I forget their names of the DX9 set. Hoister. So looking at Hoister, if we fold out his hook out behind him, just straighten it out and fold it up, then this arm we're going to fold under and leave like this. The other one we're just going to swivel around. Then pull out the combiner head from his back, and on these struts you can split and fold out the front of the vehicle, and there's a hole on each side and a tab that those go into. So just plug in both of those, and let's go ahead and combine that into Carrier. So Carrier's arms make one combined port in the middle, and there's a hole on Hoister's chest that just plugs together for the back. It's a little tricky of a fit, hence why I'm not getting the best footage of it, but I swear it does fit. There it is, just like that. Then on the front, there's a hole on the bottom of this arm that plugs into the peg on Carrier's chest. Then there's a peg on this side, and that goes into a hole right on the front of Carrier. Then, I'm going to lift you guys up again, because this is going to get tall real fast. There we are. Looking at the hook, if we split it down the middle, there's a tab on each of his, what were the legs, that you can plug these into. And now we have Devastator's iconic, sorry, Hulky's totally not iconic chest wing thing. So, let's move on to the legs. So, for our buddy here, Shoveler, if you just collapse his shovel, that way we get the foot, and then split his legs open a little bit, and Carrier's this peg here, it will slide in the middle, and you can close it into Shoveler's leg, and that gets you one leg of Hulky. The other side with Mixer, super simple. Just fold up the hood of the cab on the joint inside of that section. There's the knee joint and then the joint inside of the hood of the cab. Fold that up. Then there's already a hole on top that we can just plug straight into Carrier's leg. And now we have Hulky with legs. So we're almost done. We just have some arms to make. So, taking Shoveler here, if we split open his treads and just sort of move them out of the way for a second, the arm we can fold out to its full length, and then inside here we have this little joint that if we bend out, just flip it out so that you have it available, and close the treads back up using the base of where the arm is coming from, just like that. Then this side, well, that's the wrong wrist. We actually need what is going to be his right fist. Go ahead and fold the thumb out, that way you have an actual fist. And the instructions say that you can leave his arm with the shovel facing up, but if you want to be accurate to the G1 toy, you can rotate his hood and leave it with the shovel facing down. And the actual shovel end is on a joint that you can move up to clean up the kibble a little bit. Anyways, this joint here, each side of Hulky's chest has two holes that you can just plug that into and bring down. So, taking Crusher here to get the other arm, again, it's going to be mostly the same deal here, bringing out both the joint for the shoulder and the elbow, closing these back up, then replugging in the right fist or the left fist onto this one and plugging it into the other side of Hulky's chest. And again, same deal, if you want G1 toy accurate, you can leave, go into handheld mode. You can leave his shovel here facing up, or if you want, you can close it in order to get a better design. So let me boost you guys up just a little bit more. And last but certainly not least, let's flip the head around. And here we have Hulky himself. Hulky is quite big. And if you want to arm up your Devastator, Hulky, we do have a giant blaster. And if you just open up his hand, you can just plug that into his hand. It's a loose plug-in, but it does hold if you fiddle with it a bit. And that way you can get some awesome shots. So in terms of posability for Hulky himself, he's got a good old rotation at the neck. And you can look up pretty far, down a ways. At the shoulders, we have a full 360 rotation, and as well as moving out, though that's impeded a little bit by all of the vehicle on there. At his elbows, we have a bend back and forth, as well as a back bend, though, again, that's more just from how it transformed. Wrist, full rotation due to how they're plugged in. And then the pointer finger is on its own joint. separate from the other 3 fingers, and the thumbs are on swivel joints, ball joints. At the hips, we have no waist rotation, that's fine. But the feet, if you worry a little bit about his crotch plate, they can go forward a little bit, they can go back all the way. And of course, Hulky can do an amazing split. And in terms of knees, they're blocked a little bit by various parts of the transformation, but if you fiddle with it a ways, you can get a full knee bend. It just takes a little bit of fiddling. On the side with Shoveler, it's not nearly as forgiving about that. But anyways, it's not too bad, and you can certainly get a lot of poses. He does also have ankle pivot on both sides due to that awkward that awkward ab crunch that Mixer had, as well as the swivel that the shovel was on for Shoveler. But let's get some size comparisons real fast. So, taking Hulky, and let's see, if I fold up our G1 scrapper real fast, we can get a quick comparison between our good buddy Hulky here and the original G1 Devastator, which, as you can see, dwarfs him by a little bit. Not by much, but by a little bit. Then, getting out here, one of our buddies, from a more recent set, or a more recent wave, we have our Voyager buddy Starscream here from the Siege line, and he's a little bit bigger than a Voyager from the current Siege line, but that just goes to show how small each of his individual parts are. If the whole Siege Voyager is shorter than he is. And then I just want to give a quick shout out to his box, because I love what they chose to do with this. His box is a straight parody of the G1 Devastator box, and that just looks beautiful. But all in all, this figure, I love it because I love tiny figures. I love having a figure that I can just slide into a pocket. Like that size of figure, I love that. I love when that happens, so I love anything that is that small. So this figure, if I had to give it a rating, you know what, since we do Pokemon cards a lot, I'm going to give it a rating based on the Pokemon card rarity system. And this would be my Full Art V. This would be the, not pinnacle of what you can get, but it's by no means anything to scoff at. It is a wonderful figure, and if you can find it, I would recommend picking this up as quick as you can if you don't have it already. It's a beautiful figure, and it's tiny, so it can go well with like a Titan size figure that you're wanting a smaller Devastator to make it look even bigger than it is. So if you've got like the Combiner Wars Devastator Titan to go with all of your, like your Optimuses, your Megatrons, your normal size figures, then you can get this to go with Titans to make them look even bigger. Your Metroplex, your Fortress Maximus, your Scorponok. So definitely pick up this figure, and have a great rest of your day, everybody. We're going to be getting some more stuff on the channel, probably not Pokemon as much. We're going to be sort of moving over to some other stuff. So do stick around if you like this sort of thing, and feel free to drop a subscription, a like, drop me a comment, tell me what you think I could do to make this better, what you already liked, if you like this figure, if you dislike this figure, what are your problems, what do you like? Anyways, other than that, have a great rest of your day, everybody.